Big win for America. 3 exclamation marks. Look. The the Colorado court, the dirty diaper court is what they call them. That's what they say. SCOTUS Watch, bring it up.
Been watching.
And Gerald, set this up because I think they're sending you some news. I have to check on something really quickly.
Okay, go ahead. So Colorado, this verdict that we've been expecting from the Supreme Court, they announced it. They were going to announce it today, and we got it from them finally. About Colorado's ability to remove a president or even somebody running for federal office from the ballot in their state. And it sparked a lot of controversy because when they did it basically saying like, yeah, he engaged in insurrection even though he's not been charged, convicted, or even any other process has gone on with it. And then other states have done it as well. I think Maine and most recently Illinois just did it. A county judge decided that Donald Trump could not be on the ballot. Now, I understand that it's Cook County and it's the only city that matters in Illinois, even though it doesn't matter. But it still shouldn't be the case. So, finally.
Yeah. You want to read the ruling?
Go ahead.
Let's read the ruling, and then we'll go to CNN where Kingpin is giving his thoughts.
Crime's going to be harder.
So, man, when I do that, bring it up full screen, so because people don't know.
I don't understand. See?
Good. All right. So here's
somebody call him.
Here is, I believe, the ruling. I just have this that was just sent to me. It says, because the Constitution makes Congress, rather than the states responsible for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates, we reverse, meaning Colorado's ruling. We conclude that states may disqualify persons holding or attempting to hold state office.
Of course.
But states have no power under the Constitution to enforce Section 3 with respect to federal offices, especially the presidency. Now, here's important. Here's something important. It was 9-0, this decision. So, let me ask you this. Comment below. When people talk about trying to overturn our democratically elected institutions or overturn our election, this is 9-0, meaning Sotomayor, meaning Kagan, meaning everybody said,
Jackson Brown.
They have no authority to do this. Who is trying to overturn the democratically elected representative of the people? Think about that. Even liberals, even leftists in the Supreme Court said this is way overstepping your bounds. And of course, the left simply they'll abuse the courts any way they can. They'll abuse the judicial process any way they can.
Yeah.
Any which way they can. It's very, very clear that this is unconstitutional by your own admission, leftists. It's a genuine question. January 6th, are those insurrectionists? Or Black Lives Matter who took over an entire square, 3-4 city blocks with Chaz? Protesting an election because of changing election laws, for example, in Pennsylvania, violating your state constitution, mass mail-in voting, not requiring identification in certain precincts, or trying to use the courts to forbid a national candidate for election locally. Who is trying to subvert this democratic representative republic more?
Yeah.
I think the answer is pretty clear. This, again, puts another nail in that coffin. That's why they're going to be talking about you, the white rural rage artist.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the chilling things about this is that maybe they wouldn't have been able to keep Trump off the ballot if he is the nominee. And they knew that. Right. But keeping him off of the primary ballot, that basically can swing it to where a candidate like Nikki Haley, for, just pulling out a random example, could stay in the race and look like they have a lot more support because Super Tuesday's tomorrow. Mm-hmm. The court finally decided on this. What if Donald Trump wasn't on the ballot in a bunch of these key states because they decided to remove him from the primary ballot?
Right.
And now Nikki Haley is the only Republican there. And you go to the ballot and go, well, I'm a Republican. I guess I have to vote for Nikki Haley because Donald Trump's nowhere to be found.
Right.
It makes you look like you should be there when you shouldn't. It affects funding. It affects the time the president can actually go back and start going after Joe Biden instead of having to do anything else related to Nikki Haley and running in a primary. He is the guy.
But the good news is she did win, with the 1,200 votes in D.C. Hey, quick question. How many electoral votes go to District of Columbia? Oh, that's right. So, again, you have people.
How many is it? I didn't see.
I don't know.
I couldn't count them.
It's a number. Yeah. You want to see what these guys are actually saying?
Let's see what Kingpin on CNN is saying, and then we'll show you exactly what they argued in Colorado and sort of the fallout. Because, look, it would have been one thing if this was a split decision, or even it's not even close. It's not even close. That tells you a lot. Now, I don't believe that the truth is determined by consensus or a poll. Especially with the courts, it's determined by constitutionality. The issue here, the reason this is relevant, is everyone, including people who don't honor the Constitution, who don't actually follow originalism, said, yeah, this is a bridge too far. There isn't even one dissent. That's a miracle. It's very, very rare that you would get that on a case like this. So let's see what they're saying, Kingpin here on CNN.
Surrounding it, whichever decision Judge Kutchuk makes in terms of when this thing's heard. And Jim, what do you say to all those Americans out there who are watching this, who are frustrated and say, Trump is getting away with breaking the law, that he files appeal?
What do you say to the majority of Americans who are going to elect him? They always try. Exactly. They want you to feel like you're alone. What do you say to Americans who are frustrated and want to violate the Constitution to keep him off the ballot? The answer should be, fuck him.
I say, too bad, so sad.
Yes.
Anybody else would not have the ability to appeal things until kingdom come.
Kingdom come, he said it.
Well, actually, they do have the ability to do that. That's part of our justice system.
Well, but for all practical purposes, that doesn't happen. I mean, the vast majority of defendants out there don't have the resources to drag everything out in umpteen different cases across the country.
What? Yes, that's right. It's Donald Trump's fault. Keep in mind, when people use the term gaslighting, it's overused because of pop psychology. He has the ability to drag these out. Okay, the alternative is he would be in jail for crimes he didn't commit, of which he's never been convicted, and he wouldn't be able to run for office when people want to elect him. So it's Donald Trump's fault for fighting bullshit charges, bullshit arguments and rulings. 9-0. 9-0, bullshit. Think about this. They just said, what about the people who don't want Trump to be eligible for the nomination? Well, what do people do when they see that not everybody has the ability to protect their name?
The money. That's what he's saying.
I believe Dahmer pled not guilty.
This indictment, that they were going to be up against it on a timeline, and that there were going to be appeals, both interlocutory appeals, which are intermediate appeals that could be immediately taken up to the Supreme Court, and then appeals after the fact, after judgment's rendered. So, that's part of the process. The justice system doesn't spin fast. This one in particular, though, given where Jack Smith's case was when it was filed, is probably moving along faster than most other federal cases. Heck, in Philadelphia, we have a number of criminal
It's
trials
almost like it would move faster because it's relevant to a national election, Humpty.
Mr. Dumpty, please.
All right, Jim Schultz, thank you very much. I want to go back to Joan, who's on set with us.
And I'm getting now, Mr. Schultz had a great fall. They are putting him back together again.
Best wishes.
Let me read you some more here from the Supreme.
Let me just set what you're about to read up. So, yes, it was a 9-0, but the 3 liberal justices didn't support it for all of the right reasons.
Right. They said, although we agree that Colorado cannot enforce Section 3, we protest the majority's effort to use this case to define the limits of federal enforcement of that provision because we would decide only the issue before us. We concur only in the judgment. In other words, we want to give ourselves a back door, but we know the game here.
We just can't do it in this particular case. But maybe down the road, if you do it a little differently, we'll be happy.
Yeah.
What do you even? Why would you qualify it? You're supposed to be impartial.
At sneakiness, please.
Yes.
It's supposed to
be more deceptive.
Let's see if anyone on CNN actually addresses the constitutionality and says, there's a reason it's 9-0.
Amplify disagreement with stridency. We should be taking the temperature down rather than bringing it up. Yeah. But you can see why the liberals did this.
Donald Trump, by the way, does not believe in that.
No.
Yes, that's right. It's his fault. It's his fault that the Supreme Court ruled that you tried to railroad him unconstitutionally. Are you starting to get the picture? Donald Trump wants to bring the temperature up. You tried to put the man in jail, and now you did, in certain districts, take him off the ballot. You tried to do it to set a precedent so that the Supreme Court could say, we can take him off the ballot, and you still have other bullshit cases. You still are trying to indict him on insurrection. You still think about it, but it's Donald Trump's fault. It's like being mugged and someone going, hey, that victim's fighting back. They can't.
They kind of are doing that.
It's like the ceasefire thing. It's like you basically started a war with Donald Trump. He's better at fighting this war than you are, and you're pissed off that you're getting your butt kicked right now. Whoa.
Take the temperature down.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you stabbed me. Hey, look, let's not bicker about, stabbed, I'm still bleeding.
Well, not a lot.
Let's take the temperature down.
Yeah, chill out, dude. Just let us indict you.
Everyone chill. What about early voting?
Right.
Huh?
Was Trump on the ballot in early voting in Colorado so that the only people have a chance to vote for him is Tuesday?
Right.
That's
if he's back on in time.
If he's back on
yeah,
in time,
if they can print him in time. Yeah.
All right, let's see.
The majority, the 6 justices other than the 3 liberals, say only Congress. The only way this can work is if Congress passes a law saying, here's how we will determine whether someone is or is not an insurrectionist. The 3 liberals say, you didn't have to go that far. It would have been enough to just say states can't do it and then let everyone else figure out.
Boy, are they trying to spin this? It's like, guys, it's not a total loss. All is well! You didn't have to go that far.
Gives them permission. So basically,
This is sad, dude.
Prosecution of
Exactly,
Donald
that's
Trump
exactly-
or another presidential candidate for insurrection.
exactly right. So this, the
Why do you
liberals
need
say
Congress to
basically
weigh in then?
that's a perfect example. So the liberals say take this scenario where someone were successfully prosecuted for insurrection. The liberals say that should be enough. But the conservatives, 6 conservatives, say no. You still just need Congress.
No, let me just
You
correct
need
that real
Congress
quick.
to do
Only
it
5
because a state, this is the best example of why states cannot be trusted to do this because they tried to do something illegal. You guys gloated about it. We'll get to it in just a second. You illegally removed a guy from the ballot in your state. Other states started following suit. This is why we can't trust you to properly adjudicate this. That is the Congress. That's Congress's
By the way,
role.
this is enough. When they say the left, no, freest and fairest elections. Again, you don't just ask yourself what happens right now when you have a system of checks and balances. Right now, the balance was the Supreme Court, 3 branches of government, right? They act as checks and balances against each other. The left doesn't want checks and balances.
No.
And so it's not what happens, it's what would happen if the left, if the DNC, had power completely unfettered. The election wouldn't be an election. It would not be an election. It would be a coronation of someone that nobody wants, Joe Biden. Imagine this. If Colorado had their way, what they were trying to do is, okay, Colorado sets a precedent. Great. Illinois, a district in Illinois, a county follows suit. And all other states, because Colorado justified it, that don't want Donald Trump on the ballot, they can do this. Now, guess what? All it takes, 3 swing states.
Yep, exactly.
To do that. And Colorado, once upon a time, was considered somewhat of a swing state. It's kind of purple. Michigan, Pennsylvania, let's say Ohio, Wisconsin, they change it. Maybe Georgia. Maybe Arizona. Just a few of them say, well, Colorado did it. And if the timing was wrong, oh my God, imagine if they did this in a national election, just 2 months before national election. Yep. If they had their power completely unfettered, do you think that's a free and fair election? It doesn't. Sure, we have a Hunter Biden story last time that changed the election. Sure, you have mail-in ballots, which are, of course, a gross violation of your constitutional rights as a tax-paying citizen who wants to ensure a duly elected candidate is actually the one who runs for office and is elected. All of those are, but if just the Colorado ruling, they were trying to game the system so that you wouldn't even be given the opportunity to vote for the guy who fucking today beats Joe Biden. Just to be clear, they know it. They did this when, I believe this happened when Donald Trump was 5 points ahead of national polls. In other words, we know we lose. How do we stop it? Has nothing to do with constitutionality, has nothing to do with who you want to elect. If nothing else, they did this to try and set the stage for swing states to be able to do it. And if not for the Supreme Court, it would have worked where the guy who, if the election was held today, wins would be ineligible. That's it. Never let them gaslight you into questioning election results because this happened in the open. It didn't work. Don't forget that they tried it.
Absolutely. And we do have some of the MSM gloating, by the way. So they understand what was at stake, what you just said. It would potentially keep him from being president, right? We have a bit of a montage of them.
Good.
We had a whole show planned, my friend, and that is completely upended. This is what we're talking about now. I am in front of, festooned with papers in front of me.
there are very few sort of magic spells that you cast that make a complex and difficult problem go away.
I was thrilled and proud to be in America.
The opinion by the Colorado Supreme Court was a masterful judicial opinion.
I was very pleased that the rule of law was vindicated by the Colorado Supreme Court in this way.
Looks like a Muppet on a spin cycle. All right.
Each one of those guys knows the law, and they know that this is not how you do this.
Absolutely.
And gals.
It's 10:34 Eastern on Monday, March 4th. So remember where you were when this happened. Don't let them move on. Do not let them move on because I see this all the time. People go, wait a second. Did I dream the mail-in voting in Pennsylvania thing? Wait a second. Did I dream, Georgia, the pipes at night when they said a pipe burst? And then we saw the video. Mm-hmm. And then it became about the fact that they weren't actually suitcases. They were Pelican cases of votes. Did I dream that? You didn't dream it. This happened. Remember where you were. It's 9:35 Central, 10:35 Eastern, March 4th. Remember where you were when the Supreme Court said, yeah, you can't do it. We see it. We like that you were trying to remove them from the ballot. Maybe there's a different way to do it, but it's unconstitutional. If they would have had their way, today, you don't get to vote for the person who you have already decided should be the next president of the United States. Do not ever let them. Do not ever let them gaslight you into forgetting, and do not let them ever tell you that you're a conspiracy theorist for questioning the results of the election. They tampered. Today. Don't forget it. You didn't dream it. It happened. We have, I guess, a clip from MSNBC when the Colorado case happened.
Right, just to give you an idea of what they were talking about then.
All right.
Ultimately, it's up to states how they choose to appoint the electors to the Electoral College. And it's also up to states, as far as we know as of now, to be able to have ineligible people kept off their ballots.
I mean, ineligible people off the what?
They're trying to.
She's still calling him ineligible?
Well, this is prior
back
to the verdict, right? So this is just basically going back and saying that states have a right to keep people off.
But he also was not ineligible then.
No, he wasn't. He was never ineligible.
He's never
the
been
state just
ineligible.
basically said that he was. It was a 4-3 Supreme Court decision in the state of Colorado that basically said, yes, he can be kept off, right? That's what was appealed. That's what went up to the Supreme Court of the United States. If you are in another place, another state, this affects you because let's say that you guys vote for Donald Trump. Like Steven said, it doesn't matter if 3 swing states don't even have him on the ballot. That's the election. It's done. It doesn't matter if he has overwhelming support in the rest of the country, except for obviously the big blue states that are obviously going to go for Biden or whoever's up for the nomination with a D next to their name. They basically stole your vote. They nullified your vote. This was the argument that was made by Paxton and a bunch of other people, a number of states, about Pennsylvania changing their law. And it was the right argument to make. The problem is they didn't have standing, is what they said. You should have standing when your votes are basically nullified.
Yes.
That's what they were trying to do with this. They were trying to keep him off the ballot for tomorrow.
And this is how you end up with an actual civil war, a revolution.
Yes.
Because let's say you have a candidate like Donald Trump who has more than 60% of the public vote. And a huge portion of them, because they live in certain states, were not able to vote. You can lie to them all you want. Guess what? That sting is not something people forget. And they say, well, we really do have a rigged system. I wasn't even able to vote for anyone I want because you decided to act outside of your authority. Where you would really have a pressure cooker would be if after the election you would have like a national scenario as to what happened with Pennsylvania. For those of you who've forgotten with Pennsylvania, basically it was regarding mail-in voting, and it was brought before the court that it was a violation of the Pennsylvania Constitution. They said, well, hold on a second, we're doing this mass mail-in voting, and the court said, we sure, but we don't know, nothing's happened yet, so you don't have standing.
Right.
And then after the election, the court said, yeah, they did do it, and yes, it was a violation of the Pennsylvania Constitution, but the election's already done, so it's a moot point. If this would have happened after the election, where the court said, you know what, they didn't have the right to, but the election is done, that in combination with a candidate who has the majority of public support, that would be, I do think, when people say, what do you think it would take? I think that would lead to violent conflict in the United States. I really do believe that we were that close to it. It would only take about 3 more steps. You can comment below. I'm not saying that I'm encouraging that. I'm saying I do believe if you were to hold a gun to my head, if Donald Trump is taken off the ballot in key swing states and after the election the Supreme Court says, yeah, that was a violation, but the election's done, so we're not going to do anything about it, I believe that you would actually have violent civil conflict in this country.
Absolutely. And I'm a bit disappointed in what I'm about to ask you to do, but Donald Trump did respond.
Oh.
You'll see why I'm disappointed. We'll bring it up on the screen there. I don't know if it's in the map yet.
Is this all he said?
Can you do it?
He said, big win for America.
But can you do me a favor and give us like what you think he would say?
3 exclamation marks. Look, the Colorado court, the dirty diaper court is what they call them. That's what they say. Because the judges, I've heard, wear diapers and they don't change them frequently. Infrequent changing of the diapers. But the Supreme Court said no to the dirty diaper court. I'm going to rule against because they're the best Supreme Court. Frankly, that's what people say. I would never say that. I'm impartial. They say it's the best Supreme Court. Great tits, Elena Kagan.
Wait.
Fantastic. Big win for America. 3 exclamation points.
I was disappointed and it was so short. I was like, oh, come on.
I feel like he usually would obviously write something more, but he was just so overjoyed. He was like, what? I don't insult their wife. Killed you. Big win for America.
But we guys like that? I love it. So I mean, he put some other stuff out. You know, obviously he's gonna campaign on this. He's gonna fundraise off of this. It's a big deal.
Of course he
obviously.
is.
Yeah. So I as well he should. Nobody has been more targeted than this guy. And so you said we dodged a bullet a little bit here. We have about 10 more to dodge
yeah, I know.
between now and Election Day. That's the real issue that we're facing right now. And if you watch CNN, we didn't even put up MSNBC. They're probably lighting their hair on fire over there. But if you watch CNN, what you see is supposed to be kind of the more middle of the road. It's not opinion about this. And they're saying, well, these states should have the right to do this. I can't believe that they would do that. It's crazy. So I'm a little frustrated by it. I hope we dodge the rest of the bullets. We'll see. Watch Louder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.